The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Stephen Covey. Part 1. Paradigms and Principles. Chapter 1. The 7 Habits. A New Approach to Personal Effectiveness. This chapter is an introduction to Covey's approach to achieving personal and professional effectiveness through the development of effective and principle-centered habits. In this chapter, Covey establishes the importance of working on personal effectiveness to achieve our goals and objectives satisfactorily. The author begins the chapter by highlighting that most people focus on improving their effectiveness through time management techniques or tools, but that these solutions are often ineffective because they do not address the root of the problem, the underlying habits and paradigms that affect our way of thinking and acting. For Covey, personal effectiveness is about cultivating a principle-centered mindset and developing effective habits that help us achieve our goals and objectives sustainably. In this sense, Covey proposes a list of 7 habits that form the basis of his approach to personal effectiveness and that are addressed in the rest of the book. The first habit that Covey presents is proactivity. According to the author, proactivity involves taking initiative in our lives, rather than simply being reactive to circumstances. Covey emphasizes the importance of taking responsibility for our own decisions and actions and focusing on those things that we can control, rather than worrying about what is outside of our control. The second habit is beginning with the end in mind. Covey argues that, to achieve real effectiveness, we must have a clear idea of our long-term goals and objectives. Covey urges us to visualize our desired future and work towards it with passion and determination. The third habit is putting first things first. Covey maintains that, to achieve sustainable effectiveness, we must focus on things that are truly important and prioritize them in our time and energy. Covey uses the metaphor of big rocks to illustrate this concept. If we fill our time with less important tasks, we will not have space for the truly meaningful things in our lives. Covey also introduces the idea of paradigms in this chapter, highlighting that our way of thinking and perceiving the world can limit or expand our personal effectiveness. According to Covey, paradigms are the lenses through which we view the world and are often unconscious. Covey argues that it is important to identify and change limiting paradigms to achieve broader effectiveness. In summary, Chapter 1 of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People establishes the foundation for Covey's approach to personal and professional effectiveness. Through the development of principle-centered habits, Covey emphasizes the importance of working on personal effectiveness at the level of underlying habits and paradigms and presents the first 3 habits that form the basis of his approach: proactivity, beginning with the end in mind, and putting first things first. Additionally, Covey introduces the idea of paradigms and the importance of identifying and changing limiting paradigms to achieve broader effectiveness. Chapter 2. Paradigms and Effectiveness. Covey establishes his approach to achieving personal and professional effectiveness through the development of habits centered on principles. In this chapter, Covey delves into the concept of paradigms and how they influence our perception of the world and our ability to be effective. Covey defines a paradigm as a set of beliefs, values, and assumptions that influence how we perceive and interpret the world. Paradigms are the mental frameworks through which we see the world and can be conscious or unconscious. Covey argues that, in many cases, the paradigms we have can limit our ability to be effective and reach our goals. To illustrate the influence of paradigms in our lives, Covey shares the story of an experiment that was conducted in the 1920s. In this experiment, a group of people were shown a series of images representing different objects. However, when they were asked to describe the images, they discovered that each person had a different perception of what they were seeing. Covey uses this story to highlight how our perceptions and assumptions can affect our ability to be effective and reach our objectives. Covey argues that, to achieve real effectiveness, we must identify and change limiting paradigms that hinder our progress. Covey urges us to question our assumptions and see things from a different perspective to broaden our understanding of the world and find new solutions to our problems. Covey also emphasizes the importance of cultivating a principle-centered approach in our lives. Principles are the natural laws that govern the universe and, according to Covey, enable us to live effectively and sustainably. Covey argues that working on personal effectiveness through the development of principle-centered habits is essential to achieving a fulfilling and satisfying life. In this chapter, Covey presents a list of principles that are fundamental to his approach to personal effectiveness. Some of these principles include integrity, honesty, humility, justice, and respect. Covey argues that working on personal effectiveness through the development of principle-centered habits not only allows us us to achieve our goals but also helps us live an authentic and meaningful life. In summary, Chapter 2 of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People delves into the concept of paradigms and how they influence our perception of the world and our ability to be effective. Covey emphasizes the importance of identifying and changing limiting paradigms and cultivating a principle-centered approach in our lives to achieve sustainable effectiveness. Covey presents a list of principles that are fundamental to his approach to personal effectiveness, and argues that working on personal effectiveness through the development of principle-centered habits not only allows us to achieve our goals but also helps us live an authentic and meaningful life. Covey argues that the development of effective habits is a continuous process that requires constant reflection and a commitment to change. In conclusion, Chapter 2 of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is a reflection on paradigms and their influence on our lives. Covey emphasizes the importance of identifying and changing limiting paradigms to achieve broader effectiveness and argues that the development of principle-centered habits is essential to achieving a fulfilling and satisfying life. Through this chapter, Covey urges us to reflect on our own beliefs and assumptions and question them to achieve a greater understanding of the world and ourselves. Chapter 3: Independence. Stephen Covey presents the concept of independence as a key dimension in personal effectiveness. Covey defines independence as the ability to be self-directed and make decisions based on our own values and principles rather than following the opinions and expectations of others. Covey argues that most people go through 3 stages in their personal development: dependence, independence, and interdependence. In the dependence stage, people rely on others to meet their needs and focus on seeking security and protection. In the independence stage, people seek freedom and self-determination and strive to take control of their lives and be responsible for their own decisions. In the interdependence stage, people work collaboratively with others to achieve common goals and improve the quality of life for all. Covey maintains that independence is fundamental to personal effectiveness because it allows us to make decisions based on our values and principles, rather than following the expectations and pressures of others. To achieve independence, Covey suggests that we must develop 3 fundamental habits: proactivity, beginning with the end in mind, and prioritization. Proactivity refers to the ability to take the initiative and be responsible for our own decisions and actions. Covey argues that proactive people are able to make decisions based on their values and principles rather than simply reacting to external circumstances. Additionally, proactive people have a growth mindset that allows them to learn and grow through challenges and obstacles. The second habit, beginning with the end in mind, refers to the ability to define our goals and work toward them systematically and focused. Covey maintains that it is important to have a clear vision of what we want to achieve and work toward that goal consistently and disciplined. Finally, the third habit, prioritization, refers to the ability to set clear priorities and focus on the activities that are most important to achieve our goals. Covey argues that it is important to dedicate time and energy to the activities that are most meaningful and contribute to the achievement of our long-term objectives. In summary, Chapter 3 of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People focuses on the importance of independence in personal effectiveness development. Covey argues that independence allows us to make decisions based on our own values and principles, which leads us to a more authentic and meaningful life. To achieve independence, Covey suggests that we must develop habits of proactivity, beginning with the end in mind, and prioritization. Through this chapter, Covey challenges us to reflect on our own beliefs and assumptions and urges us to take control of our lives and be responsible for our own decisions and actions.